What's up? It's been a while, I know. Missed a day. How could I? I let my 7 followers down. It's quite the shame. Um, but I've been busy. I started school um, yesterday, elementary school. Did some counting, did some coloring. It was all good fun. Um, but here I am, making my videos. Um, Speaking to the world of YouTube, which is obviously the best world there is to speak to. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you are here. How was your day? Good? Cool. Now I'm the weird one talking to the camera. How it goes. I don't think I've stumbled over a single word yet, so that's something, right? Um, does that count? Anyways, I won't waste any more of your time. What I wanted to talk about today is what I titled this video as the all or nothing. Kind of this idea, like, obviously, it's all or nothing, right? And for a lot of things previously in my life, it was kind of like it's all or nothing, like if you don't do something 100% the first time you do it ever, it's not worth doing ever again because you already failed. And it's like a little bit toxic, maybe a lot of bit toxic, actually, now that I think about it. But I feel like that's a lot of, the world now. Kind of this hustler, consumer, not consumer, it's kind of tied in, but more so the hustler culture of like, oh, you got to be perfect. You got to wake up at this time and do this exact routine like a damn robot, right? And I think it's good to do these routines and it's good to do these things. And I'm not saying like don't strive for perfection, but like also don't beat yourself up when you don't reach that mark, right? I know I used to be, in high school. For you non-Americans, this might not completely make sense, but I used to be an AP kid, um, advanced placement, and there's this company called College Board, which is like the epitome of this country here when it comes to schooling, etc. And I was, freshman, sophomore year of college, or not college. I'm in elementary school. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just making it all up, right? Of high school, I was very determined to prove my intellect and prove my worth, right? And so I'm like, I'm gonna take as many AP classes as I can because my intelligence, was so tied in with my identity, and like my whole life, like all these teachers and students, my mom and my dad. Maybe I don't even have a mom and a dad, and I would self-procreated, created myself. I don't know why I said that. That was weird. Anyways, all these people were kind of like reaffirming my intellect because it's so astoundingly high. Not even anybody on earth can comprehend it. And I did that grammatical error on purpose. That was the joke. Anyways, you kind of build up this idea of like the gifted kid, right? And a lot of what happens to these gifted kids, I don't even know what gifted means. That's such a vague term, but these gifted kids, right, they burn out because, well, many factors, but one of the factors is like their whole life they've been able to just breeze through stuff without studying. That was kind of how I was, like cram 5 minutes before a test and take it and get an 100, like whatever, no sweat, right? No whatever off my back. I forget the damn. I must be really dumb. I don't know what the phrase is, but anyways, um, I don't know why I keep saying that. Um, yeah, it's like praising a kid for being smart doesn't really mean much when you get into elementary school like I am. You start to realize, like, who cares if you're smart, man? Who cares this or that? You got to put the work in, and you got to show up every day of every week of every, year. I hope not. I hope you go on summer break or whatever. But it's like this cycle of like, oh, I need to prove myself. I need to show people I'm this guy or this girl or that girl, right? This image, this public relation image, even though most of us aren't celebrities. I mean, I am because, I have a very popular YouTube channel, right? So you might not relate to this. But a lot of us try to create this image that we think we're creating in our minds for other people to view us as. And if that perception of their perception shatters, then who are we? You know, like for example, a lot of people growing up played sports, right? And then it's the classic thing of like, oh, you have this sports injury. And sports, a little bit different from what I was originally portraying it as, but sports was your all. And if you don't have sports, you have nothing. If I'm not a golfer, if I'm not a basketball player, if I'm not a tennis player, if I'm not this or that, I'm nothing. That's all I have. That's all I'm good at, right? And then you have to reevaluate because you snapped your femur in half, man. You can't be balling on the court anymore. So then it's like, whoa, who am I then? If I'm not this external thing, then who am I? If I'm not a perfect human being like I think I am and I want people to believe me as, then who am I? Right? Like all of social media is trying to portray this perfect image of yourself to others. Everything's filtered. And I'm preaching to the choir here, I'm sure, but like, that's not the real story. And even if someone, posts on their story, like, oh, I've been crying, oh, I went through this shit and that shit, that's so one dimensional, man. You don't know the full story. Everyone's biased to their own selves, right? Including me. Well, not me. I'm actually enlightened, so I don't really fall for those ego traps. But, okay, maybe I do sometimes. But the point being is like, you don't know the full story. You never will, not from social media. Not that you will ever from not social media, but you get a fuller picture of someone, you know. Social media is essentially the nothing of real relationships. It's so futile to even try to grasp at the reality of someone's life through a screen. And we try, but you don't know who I am. I'm putting on an image of like some sophisticated genius on this channel. And unfortunately, that is who I am. And you're just never going to understand or comprehend how much my genius really exudes through the screen. And that's okay. But at the end of the day, right, like what I'm trying to get at here is that all or nothing mindset, this polarity between right or wrong, left or right, moral or unmoral, like me hitting that guy with my car and then driving away, like it's kind of a gray area, right? Okay, I'll be serious. The point actually is there is no all or nothing. It's an in between. You're never going to have it all and you're never going to have nothing, right? The sports player who breaks his femur, like he's still a basketball player. He still was. He might not be to the same level that he was, but he can still shoot a basket or two when he heals himself. He might not be a professional like he was before, but that doesn't mean he won't ever be a basketball player, you know. And just because you're imperfect, because you can't reach perfection, doesn't mean you won't have perfect moments in your life, perfect days, perfect whatever. And what even is perfect? But just to illustrate the point, there's always going to be imperfection in your perfection, right? You're never going to be 100%. It's all relative anyway, but let's say you felt that you just had the most perfect day. Well, someone else could experience that day and think it's the most imperfect day ever, right? It's all just wishy-washy and who knows anything and I don't know anything, and it's just like, why are you even watching me ramble on a video when I should be eating dinner right now and going to sleep soon? Really, the conclusion is call your mom. Yeah, I said it. Do it. You better. Maybe your mom's dead. Well, okay, that's not funny. I'm sorry.